rebound, and Westbrook does. Durant for three.
The golden age of Oklahoma is really blue, thunder blue. In just 10 years, Oklahoma has been transformed from a forgotten flyover state into an exciting destination for young people and corporations. The arrival of an NBA team in Oklahoma City is an internationally recognized blue ribbon that signifies that the state has arrived. There's a new energy generated by a team that has changed Oklahoma City and the state forever.
I mean, I think that the city's had an impact on us more than anything. I think the fans and the kids, the families has done a tremendous job of opening us with open arms, and it's just a great feeling for all of us.
Well, there's a reason why Oklahoma City is called Loud City, because we support our team. We have a team and we're going to stand by them.
Oklahoma loves a winner, and bringing the Thunder to Oklahoma City was among the first of many victories for the team and the town. Everywhere, billboards and T-shirts cheer the newfound pride in a state enjoying a Thunder boom. After the oil bust of the 1980s, Oklahoma City tried to diversify its economy. City leaders went looking for major employers. They tried to attract the Pentagon Defense Accounting Center, American Airlines, and the city was a finalist for a United Airlines maintenance plant that would have brought 4,500 new jobs. But that company informed Mayor Ron Norick that Oklahoma City wasn't the kind of community their employees wanted to live and work in.
We had a virtual depression during the oil bust. And no matter how good the incentives were, we weren't getting it. There was nothing coming our way.
And we've lost a generation of leadership because all the talented young kids have moved on to Dallas or Houston because they can't get jobs. We were desperate for something better.
We were pretty self-loathing, you know, and as far as the rest of the country, they didn't necessarily make fun of us, they just ignored us, you know, which was worse, really.
There was no future here. There was no pride. There was no buy-in to what was going on. No real hope. Downtown looked dead. It just wasn't. Nothing seemed to be going right. We were losing all these jobs. We had lost our mojo.
In 1993, Mayor Ron Norick tried something different. He called for the people of Oklahoma City to pass a 1-cent sales tax in order to renovate the city. The program was called Metro Area Projects, or MAPS. It passed by a very narrow margin. The $350 million investment changed the city, especially downtown. MAPS built Bricktown and dug the canal. It built a new downtown library and an impressive new ballpark.
And so when we built that ballpark, and suddenly we had at least a minor league ballpark that really was one of the finest in the country, visually, everything. Suddenly we thought, man, this MAPS project, you know, this might really turn things around.
In 1999, the MAPS money was running short, and there was a move to shelve the arena. But the popularity of the ballpark provided the momentum needed to pass an extension.
The next year the canal opened. The city had to go out and ask for a renewal of the MAPS tax for 6 more months to make sure the arena got opened. And I think the arena, you know, impressed people locally. Now at the same time, it was on the cheap. It was $90 million.
City leaders instantly recognized the new arena would be perfect for an NBA or NHL team. With a limited history of basketball and a lot of success with minor league hockey, decision makers thought the NHL was the league to shoot for.
The transformative moment I think, was when the Ford Center, now the Chesapeake Energy Arena, opened. What I saw was all of a sudden we were selling out events. So Britney Spears was coming in, people were buying $200 tickets, and the arena was selling out. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not so sure that something hadn't changed. I continually started to think, there's more discretionary income in this market than there was before. We need a whole new paradigm shift. I believe we can support a major league franchise.
Cornette began to campaign to improve Oklahoma City's image both nationally and worldwide, where maybe we didn't even have an image. And he knew sports was a part of this formula. And he had the audacity to skip the NHL and just start courting the NBA.
Not long after his election in 2004, Cornette went to New York to meet with NBA Commissioner David Stern.
We discussed Oklahoma City's kind of position and market base and market size. But at the end of the conversation, he had a point to make to me, and that was he didn't have a team for Oklahoma City. And I didn't need to keep coming back and seeing him. I go back to Oklahoma City and get focused on other things, and then comes Labor Day, and the hurricane hits New Orleans. And the commentator while I was watching that Wednesday morning, made a remark about the New Orleans Saints and where they might play. And I thought to myself, don't they have an NBA team there? And so I go on NBA.com, I start to think, and I called Commissioner Stern about 9 o'clock that Wednesday morning. He didn't call me back because he said later he knew what I wanted. The long story short was 6 weeks later, we had a team that had nearly sold out the season.
Our attendance was crazy. I mean, if you'll recall, we had some pretty bad patches of losing games, and we showed up and we loved these teams. I don't know if we ever booed the Hornets. And how could you?
Mayor Cornette told everybody leading up to the season opener of the Hornets in 2005, he said, what we do with this team, is something that no one will ever forget. We will never be able to redo our first impression. If we sell a lot of tickets and have a lot of corporate sponsorships, we'll create an impression in the sports world of America that will never shake. Vice versa, if we don't sell a lot of tickets, we'll never get another chance.
And we made the owner of the New Orleans Hornets a lot more money than they had been making in New Orleans. And for the first time, Commissioner Stern admitted within weeks of that first game that Oklahoma City was now at the top of the relocation list.
The NBA was able to negotiate another season for New Orleans and Oklahoma City, but the lease agreements made it clear the Hornets would have to go home.
But what had happened in the meantime was Clay Bennett, Aubrey McClendon, Tom Ward, Jeff Records, and some other Oklahoma City businessmen got together and bought the Seattle Sonics.
After a long court battle and $75 million in relocation costs, the Sonics moved and changed their name. The Thunder was born.
When the original MAPS ballot was campaigned for, when they were promoting it, city officials had the audacity to suggest we'd see $140 million of private investment based off of passing the MAPS tax, which was about $370 million of public projects. We way exceeded that, way over $2 billion at this point to date.
Downtown is barely recognizable. New parks, sprawling boulevards, and new skyscrapers. Half the city seems to be under construction. In 1998, the Sheraton was the only hotel downtown. Today, there are 6. For business, basketball season is like 8 months of Christmas.
I was recently down there at a sushi restaurant, and I counted it in my head. I was thinking there are 5 sushi restaurants in downtown Oklahoma City. 30 years ago, there weren't 5 restaurants in downtown Oklahoma City.
Lauren Gonzalez has a great seat for the game. She's sitting at the bar at Republic Gastropub.
Tonight I'm here with some coworkers, but they are friends as well. But yeah, I come out with a bunch of different groups, friends, coworkers, family sometimes. You can't go downtown on a Thunder game night and find a parking spot. I mean, it's packed. There's, all of downtown, every restaurant, every parking lot is full. So I don't think you can deny the economic, benefit that it's had.
That benefit has a long reach. Republic is over 60 blocks north of the arena, and every table on game night is taken.
They bring in, think about all the people that come in from out of town I mean, people that don't normally go out on those nights anyways, but when Thunder plays, they go out, you know? I mean, it's not like it's just on Friday and Saturday. So now we got Tuesday, Thursdays, Wednesdays, all those nights are super busy. Tips go through the roof. Is people get excited, they want to be here the whole time, and whenever we can do that, like just bring the best service we can to the table, they tip very well.
A few tables away, good friends keep an eye on the game over dinner and a few beers.
This is the best way to watch an away game, because that's the only way. I lived in Dallas for a while, and Dallas is a big national press where people all throughout the U.S., know what's going on in Dallas and stuff like that. I never really got that vibe living in Oklahoma City, like as a kid. But once the Thunder came along, we get national press through TNT, and people are coming into OKC just to see the Thunder. And I think that's what pushes the city forward.
I went to Kansas University, and I had a lot of friends who, in Kansas especially, they were vying for a team, an NBA team. And when we got it and they didn't, they kind of latched onto our team as their surrogate team. And it's now their team. They all come up, they come to games. And it's really a way to get other out-of-towners to come into Oklahoma City, and they just the love of the Thunder that brings people in.
But what's really more important, I think, is that sort of much harder to quantify intangible economic benefit. What economic value is it to know that Oklahoma City's sports team is playing on national television in China? I don't know. I don't know that I can ever, quantify that. But of course there's an economic value to that. Of course there's an economic value to having 1 billion Chinese know that Oklahoma City exists.
Under general manager Sam Presti, the Thunder stands apart from other NBA teams as principled, humble, and deeply committed to their community. Pitt Park is on the northeast side of Oklahoma City, and on this morning, several of the biggest names in basketball come out to open a new $21,000 court for neighborhood kids.
We always trying to give back to the kids because, I didn't have the opportunity growing up to meet NBA players or have them come put a basketball court, in my local park or whatever. But I feel like it's a great thing, and I just, it's always a pleasure. I mean, one thing about it in our organization, we have a lot of pride on doing things like this, just to brighten up people's day.
I just like to spend some time with the kids. I think it's really important, to show them some good leadership and some positive, give them something positive, to look up to. And if I can be something like this for them, I think it's great, and it's just a fun time. We play basketball, we share stories, we laugh and joke together, so it's a great time.
This dedication is one of hundreds of events where the players and staff participate.
I think just for us, first of all, we all love doing it. We all love giving back. It's a community that supports us day in and day out. Win or loss, they're always behind us.
It's very important. Just because the way the world is today, there's so many negatives out there that it's just, if you could do one thing to save one child's life or 2 kids' life, it's a great thing.
We enjoy doing this. To be part of this community, I think it's really important for us. The way they embrace the team and support us throughout the years. I think it's great to be able to give back.
What's up? What's your name? Nice to meet you. I like your name.
Meeting an NBA star in person is an event children will never forget. After practice, the players take turns visiting schools and reading to kids.
The Rolling Thunder Book Bus goes out every single day. Today, actually, we went out to 2 different schools. We try to do as much outreach as we possibly can. The students can come on as a reading initiative to get them to read outside of school. So we have them to come on and pick out a free book that they can take home and read when they're at home. A lot of the times when we go to a school, we can tell, and the teachers tell us and principals tell us, that this is the first book that the kids can actually say is their own.
Looking on, it's hard to tell who's having more fun, the kids or the players.
All of them. You want all of them? You want the whole bus? I wish I could. You want to drive the bus to your house?
We definitely like getting out and doing what we can. I've seen my teammates and even I sometimes just stopping by a school maybe or doing different events. So we like to just be in the community, especially how much love they show us, so we like to give back. It's very down to earth. They talk to us just like they talk to their friends, so that's probably the best part about it.
Clapping with us is Serge Ibaka, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant.
At Christmas, the Thunder team and staff love playing Santa Claus. Teaming up with the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Department and Target, they take underprivileged kids through the store and let them get anything they want.
Spider-Man, what's that?
Awesome. I like it.
You know, Christmas, like I said, is the best part of the year. This is, season of giving and just, love and just to come out here and help this community that supported us so much is the least we can do. So it's a blessing that we was able to bring some smiles to these people's faces.
The program that we have at the Sheriff's Office is called Grandparents Raising Grandkids. And we've been doing this for 11 years, and we've been able to go from 50 to 700 this year. But about 4 years ago, the Thunder got involved. So they took 10 of the families, and they really make a huge impact because these families have 3, 4, 5 kids each.
I was blessed by the Thunder, Target, and all these wonderful people out here because I take care of my grandbabies. I never in 1,000 years thought it would be me, and I needed it so bad. So I naturally I thank God, but I thank everybody so very much for what they've done for us.
Followed by an army of reporters and photographers, the players remain focused on the kids.
It's very important. I think we get an opportunity to interact with the fans, especially the kids and they may like certain players. They get an opportunity to finally see them and meet them. It's just a great opportunity. It's exciting, man. I know as a child I would love to have somebody come, knock on my door and say I have an opportunity to shop with a professional athlete, and it's just a great feeling.
It's good to see kids, man, and just, let them go on the shopping spree, man. That was pretty cool, and happy I could be a part of it.
The Thunder as an organization puts up a base amount, and the Thunder players know that base amount, but they don't care. So everything over that base amount comes directly out of the pocket of the player, and almost every time they check out, they'll be over the limit and they'll be handing their credit cards.
Oh, man, they got a lot of games. Bike, motorcycle. So they had a good day, man. That was the most important thing, is that they have a really fun day, and they hopefully they enjoy all their gifts.
Not too long ago, Oklahomans were divided and defined by their allegiance to orange or red. Now, die-hard Cowboy and Sooner fans can cheer together after football season.
I've heard that on talk radio. I've heard it from people that have called in on sports talk radios in both this market and in the social market. I think it's unified the state.
When the team landed in Oklahoma City, of course, everything was great. People were buying tickets. The corporations were all coming through. Commissioner Stern said, Mayor, you've got to understand that this market is not big enough to support this team by itself. Yeah, right now everything's great. Everything's rosy. It's hard to see any other day but this. He said, but you're going to have to get the entire state engaged. The city of Tulsa is going to have to be engaged. People in Lawton and Enid and Guyman, they're all going to have to feel like this is their team. Because long term, if Oklahoma City's basketball team is going to compete with Los Angeles and Chicago and Miami and Cleveland and Boston and New York, then we're going to have to come together as an entire state and take ownership of this team.
You see people in Tulsa wearing Thunder shirts. You see them in Podo. You see them in Miami. It's a statewide team. There's no Cowboys and Sooners. There's no North and South Oklahoma City. There's no Tulsa and Oklahoma City. We're all one, which is great.
Investing time in your players, investing time in relationships.
One way to engage support outside the city is to reach out to high schools across the state. So the Thunder began hosting the annual basketball coaches camp.
Sam Presti spoke to us to begin the meeting. Coach Brooks spent, the afternoon with us. They had lunch for us, and they really went way above and beyond what we thought they would ever do to try to help us and host this clinic.
You get out there, you got it.
Our coaches and the people that in our organization never realized how good and how helpful somebody like that could be in just trying to spread basketball.
Usually, the finalists in the state high school free throw contest go to the all-college basketball tournament. This year, the winner was decided during the halftime of a Thunder game.
Well, they'll be scared to death, for one thing. But you're talking about 19,000 people, you know, so I can't imagine. I mean, I hope they can make a free throw when it comes down to it. So, but you know, it'll be something they'll never forget.
Before, I had to root for a team that wasn't in my state, so it was kind of, whenever they didn't win, I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm not that big of a fan. But now that Oklahoma City is my thing, it doesn't matter who they're playing. I want them to thump them, and I want them to win. I want to be able to say, yes, my team is Oklahoma City Thunder.
The NBA, above all sports leagues, has a global appeal. During the 25-day safari in Kenya, a Thunder fan snapped this picture. She was wearing a Thunder shirt when she was stopped in a small village with no electricity or running water by a Samburu warrior. He asked, "NBA?" and she replied, "Yes, Thunder." Later she returned and gave him the shirt. He immediately put it on, wearing the Thunder blue and a big smile.
One morning I was at Peking University in Beijing, and we were meeting across the table from someone, and I think the meeting started right at tip-off of one of the NBA Finals games. And this professor or dean or whatever, you know, he said, you know, I just ran into two of my students. They were running across campus to get back to their dorm room from an early morning class so they could watch the Thunder and the Heat. You know, they were cheering, they were going to be rooting for the Thunder. That's remarkable. Two young college students in Beijing were rushing back to their dorm room to watch Oklahoma City's Pride and Joy on television.
The Thunder has improved year by year, making the playoffs in their second season, the Western Conference Finals in their third, and the Finals in 2012. Well, what will happen when they lose?
We haven't been tested. This team has exceeded expectations every single year. When you think about it, you know, the first year we got them, we had no expectations. We were just grateful to have them. And they've been a little bit better every year. You don't get better every year.
They're going to win more games. They're going to lose some games. They'll probably make us very proud. They'll probably break our hearts.
And then, are we going to buy tickets? Are we going to wear jerseys? Are we going to yell their names as loud as we do when the players are introduced? You know, I hope we will.
But I think the team has done as best they can to try and build a relationship with the community to where there'll still be a love there and we'll still want to support the team even if they're not winning as much. I think that's why they price tickets pretty affordably up in the upper deck. Make sure they're getting a lot of people in there, make sure people are, you know, having experiences with the team on a personal level.
You know, we're here for the sports. You know, whether they win or lose, we're diehard fans. And you know what? I hope to say the same for every Thunder fan out there, that even if they're losing, they'll still bring their best and they'll come out.
The city and the team are so intertwined that it's impossible to talk about one without talking about the other. After all the years of penny sales taxes, dust, and detours, the investment is finally paying off.
Oklahoma City is becoming what I would call a buzz city. And I've been tracking this for a while. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you'd hear a lot about Portland. You'd hear a lot about Austin, Denver, Charlotte. We're getting that attention. When the playoffs were here, there were French journalists who came and I visited with them. We've got civic groups from Raleigh-Durham, from Wichita, from El Paso, from Jacksonville. I mean, just cities around the country who are looking at Oklahoma City and trying to figure out, okay, how has Oklahoma City done this?
Well, I've known that, you know, since we got here, the city has grown and we're interacting with the city like no other, man. I think we hit our 1,000th appearance, team appearance not too long ago, so it feels good to be a part of a great city, and hopefully we just continue to keep contributing and helping the city grow.
One team has been able to rally the entire citizenry around a thought, around the premise of the Thunder as being not only a team but also having pride in our community. And that makes you feel really great.
The city without young people is a city without a future. That is so critical to be a place that 20-somethings want to make their life and their career.
Well, Bricktown is back and better than ever. It's just really gotten the eyes of America back on Oklahoma City.
It's just pumped vibrancy, and it's given younger residents pride. It's part of the whole changing dynamic of, heck yeah, we're staying. We want to be a part of what's happening next.
The city's love affair with the Thunder is more than just a fan's love of a team. It's the culmination of 20 years of reinvention and the promise of more to come. The MAPS money spurred private investment, which brought in more revenue for public works, which brought in more private investment, creating a cycle that combined to make Oklahoma City a plausible home for an NBA team. When they arrived, the growth and the basketball amplified each other, setting off the Thunder boom.
For a DVD copy of this program, please send a check or money order for $22.95 to the OETA Foundation, Post Office Box 14190, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73113. Or to place a credit card order, call 800-879-6382 during regular business hours.